And welcome back to Community Viewpoint. I'm Salli Kerr with the Pahrump Valley Chamber of Commerce, and I'm here this afternoon with Marie Wujek from the Pahrump Valley Times. And you are counting down your last days.
Well, somewhat.
Somewhat?
Yeah.
Okay, so we thought we'd have you come visit with me a minute and just kind of tell us about what your tenure was like here when you came.
Okay. Well, I came about 16 years ago, and I went to work for the Pahrump Valley Times as a bookkeeper. The Pahrump Valley Times was then owned by Thurlow Communications. They sold to Stevens Media in November of 2002, and I was general manager for them until 2004, and then I was promoted to publisher. Then about 2005, I believe, we bought the Tonopah Times Bonanza up in Tonopah, long way away.
Right.
Turn your clock back 30 years, but it was a nice acquisition. We liked it. So we took on that paper, and we do the local phone book. I mean, we do a lot of different things.
Right. I don't think that people know how much other things you guys do. I mean, like, besides the phone book, you do local printing. You do all kinds of things for customers that maybe have bought ads in the paper and so then come in and have you do flyers, business cards. I mean, you're a full print shop.
We're a full-blown print shop, and we had our own web press when it was Thurlow Communications. Stevens Media assumed that role, and we were printing the paper there. And then it was so much more reasonable to do it on their big, like $16 million web press. So we transferred the product there after they purchased the Times. So.
Right. So they print it and bring it here on the days that it goes out for service here.
That's true.
Right.
That's the way it is.
Right. Okay. So what kind of changes have you seen in that kind of span?
Oh, I've seen all kinds of changes. I've witnessed, of course, all the changes in my staff. I've witnessed births of babies. I've walked them to their grave. I've walked people through happy things, sad things, all of that. So
right.
It's hard. You develop relationships, and you develop this. The Pahrump Valley Times has got a family. It's a network of people, somewhat like KPVM is.
Right.
And you just all come together, and when you're suffering together. When you're happy, you're elated together. Right. And it just, we don't shut anybody out, even if they're not there anymore, or we had to downsize a couple of times. We lost some valuable people, but it's all a portion of the economy.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Now, you have since sold once past the Stevens Media sale.
Yes. They sold again in March to Gatehouse Media. And I think it's actually called New Media, but I don't know a whole lot about it. I haven't had a lot of time to really get involved with them.
Right, right.
So I don't know what all the changes will be with that, but I expect them to be good.
Right.
I expect them to be okay. So
we've
made it through every storm. So.
Right, exactly. And I know we, as a business community, we've been very spoiled with the family atmosphere that you talk about. I mean, we really are on a first-name basis with people. From your office, clear, across the board, I mean, we really are on a first name. We're well treated, and they take our emergency deadlines, and I forgot to do this. I mean, all of that. We are very spoiled, and I think we take for granted sometimes how well treated we are, and how really it is a family atmosphere. I mean, like, it really comes across that way when we're dealing with people.
And it has been as long as I've been there, and we've been through some tumultuous times. We've been through some happy times. We've been through just everybody being, upside down, inside out, not knowing what tomorrow's going to bring, and election season, which is just really, I'm kind of glad to have put the last one of those to bed.
Right.
But there's things that are in this industry. We're a deadline business, but we are still going to do what we can to get your ad in. We're going to do what we can to get your cards printed, whatever we have to do to help you. Because if we can't help our fellow businesses, we're not in business.
Right.
So it's Pahrump has come a long way as far as that goes too, and you've done a great job at the chamber, I think.
Well, thank you very much.
I'm glad you came on board.
Yeah, thank you. I sure enjoy it.
I served on that board for several years, and that was interesting.
Yeah, it's got a creature of its own, for sure.
Yeah, and it's evolved. There's been a lot of things that have changed throughout my time here, and you know, other than getting 2 additional stoplights, which was kind of cool.
Right. Well, and that was one of the questions I wanted to ask. Besides the paper, the changes you've seen in Pahrump. I mean, you've gone from one little local market. You know, 16 years ago, people would drive through here, and I hear from them say, like, there was nothing there. You know.
Well, and I think that Albertsons, when I moved here, was Lucky's. I'm not sure. Walmart was not there.
Right.
There was a video store where the Denny's is for a long time, and then that, I just remember the drive-through lady when she drove through the video store, because that was a front page story.
Right.
So those front pagers you have a tendency to remember.
Yeah.
But the Nugget wasn't there. It was just a big old empty lot.
Right.
So I got to go through all of that question and answer period of the vaults. And
Right. I was going to say, you were here through the silver story. So, yeah.
And still hearing that there's still silver somewhere, but maybe not there.
Right. Right.
And it's been an interesting transformation. Almost all for the good, I think. I love to see the fact that there's still a lot of mom and pops. I think that that's important, because that's what keeps a community going. And I think that we have to support the community.
Right.
Instead, you know, if you can buy it here, buy it here.
Right.
Don't buy it off the internet. Heck, if you got to send it back, costs you a fortune, you know.
Right. And, you
So
know,
I
of
promote
course,
that.
from the chamber, we tell people that all the time, the advantage of working with a local company of any kind versus doing it on the internet or driving across the hill supports us all. I mean,
It
that
does.
really is what keeps us together as a town and develops the relationships to go back the next time, to send your friends the next time. And hence the reason we're on a family first name basis with other businesses, is because we all have to depend on each other. And you know what? The cost savings, I'm telling you, it doesn't add up. By the time you figure
Well, your time. Just
and
your
gas
time.
and postage and sending anything back, and plus being willing to spend a little extra for your local community. You know, there are a lot of times when I will spend the extra money, and other businesses they will be happy to spend the extra money to keep the business local. They really will. And so
Well, and they cater to you. They know, you know, they cater not just to the people walking in off the street,
Right.
but they know you. And I can't go to Walmart without, it takes me 3.5 hours to go to Walmart.
Right.
Everybody stops me and they got to tell me something, or can you fix this, or do you know who to call about that?
Right.
And I have a lot of connections, but I can't fix every problem.
Well, right. You probably do all your shopping at 11 o'clock at night.
Sometimes later than that. But it's kind of a, I think the Shop Local campaign, which was launched when I served on the chamber,
Right.
was really a positive thing, as far as it got people really to notice what we have here.
Right.
And we do the phone book, so I knew there were businesses all around Pahrump that people had no idea existed.
Right.
And a lot of them are really good businesses. They're good business people.
Right.
And I can't say, but maybe one that I thought was a rude guy.
Right.
And I think he's left or gone on somewhere else.
Right. Yeah, and we see that all the time. You know, like just really to talk to each other about our successes, to talk to each other about who we've done business with, to talk to each other about where we got a product, makes all the difference in the world, because there are lots of businesses you hear all the time, oh, I didn't know they were there. You know.
Well, and the talk it up is good, because
Right.
that's important. And then when the cards that they sell from the high school, the
Right.
Booster Club and
Yes.
stuff, that gets people in to buy pizza, whatever it gets them to do, but also supports the football team. And I think it's the football team. I'm not really sure. I haven't had kids in school for I don't know how long.
Right.
I got genes older than that. But it's, I think that this community will come together in a time of tragedy,
Right.
and they will support each other. And then they have their own way of not being happy about things, and they have the right to express that.
Right.
But they also, in the most part, allow you to have the right not to accept their expression.
Right.
So
Right.
you can turn around and say, no, you know, no, I'm going to think this way or whatever. And
Well-
it's open-minded, and it's freedom. It's freedom of speech. It's got a lot. It just, you wouldn't believe that just living here that there's 35,000 people here.
Right. So how about the political changes? You've surely seen your share of political changes.
Yeah, I have. I was sad to see the town board go. I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I kind of felt like they tried to do a good job. It's hard to get 5 people together that can agree on anything. It's hard to get 2 people sometimes
Right.
to agree on anything. So
Right.
as far as incorporation, I haven't researched it enough to even know if it would benefit this area.
Right.
I think that some of the stuff that's coming out as far as the changes in the elected offices, you know, that's a 50-50. Half the people are going to like it, the other half aren't.
You know, that's what I was just going to say. Was Pahrump is this really funny place where everything is 50-50.
Yeah.
Like pick a topic, and that's why we have to be so reasonable with each other.
Right.
Is because half of the time, whoever you're talking to is not going to agree with what you're saying.
And that's true.
And that comes across all the time, and it's really funny because it's almost part of the character of the town. Because you can pick an issue and it's going to be 50-50 almost down the line.
That's very true.
Yeah, so that's been always really fun to.
And as long as you allow people the freedom to express, and I've had people come in and sit with me, and I listen to their story, and it's gut wrenching to me, and I'll hear them out, and I'll understand why they're hurt, why they're crushed, how a family member could take advantage of them like they did, or something along that line, knowing fully well I cannot do one thing to help this person
Right.
except let them cry on my shoulder.
Right.
And it makes them feel better, and then I'll start getting on the phone and I'll say, hey, can't we find somebody to go in and check out what happened with this?
Right.
And usually we can find something, at least to give them a little bit of solace, you know.
Right.
It's a peace of mind. So
Right. Well, and that's one of the things that you've brought that we'll miss.
Oh,
You know,
well,
I mean,
thank
like
you.
one of the things over the years that I know you've set yourself in that position with people, and we'll be missing that when we see you go.
Well,
So-
I want to help everybody I can. Unfortunately, there's only so much of me to go. And
Well-
actually, I'm going home. I'm from Arizona. I left there when I was 18, and I've been gone for 45 years now, or
Right.
40 and a half years.
Right,
So
right.
not 45, let's see,
Well-
that's a little low.
Thank you for coming in, for sharing a few minutes with us and going over your history. We appreciate it.
No problem,
And we
anytime.
We wish you well.
And I wish you and the chamber continued great success.
Thank you.
I really do.
Thank you.